The Falls Count Everywhere podcast would like to mention our friends at the following. We Talk Wrestling, for the one stop you need for the most intriguing stories and headlines and info on independent shows in multiple regions. We Talk Wrestling has you covered. Subscribe to Facebook's #1 interactive community for professional wrestling today. Join Shaft and General Vader every Thursday at 5 p.m. Central live on Facebook for Outside the Ring STL Throwdown Thursdays, as they bring you the inside scoop on wrestling in the St. Louis area today and relive great moments in St. Louis professional wrestling history. Before each and every show, we like to remind our audience that freedom is never free, and all of us should be grateful to those who lay it all on the line. To all our first responders, military, and volunteers that help our nation every day, we love you and appreciate the sacrifices you make to protect all of us. We're coming at you live with episode number 87 of the Falls Count Everywhere podcast, as we welcome one of the best in-ring veteran masterminds in the business today, superstar Steve Fender. This podcast is scheduled for one episode where falls count everywhere. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is definitely a party up in here, man. Oh, my goodness. We thank you, everybody, for coming in here for tonight's episode of the Falls Count Everywhere podcast. This is episode number 87, and, man, we're coming off a hot weekend. We're going to get right into it. I'm Rough Cut Rick Ruby here on the left. To the right, of course, the Gem City Mouse Zmiz, who is... he's got a lot to boast about here tonight, boy.
Oh, you see it. You see. Hey, by the way, too, I'm on chat already. Not like usual. But boom.
Yeah. So, man, yeah, we're gonna go right into it here. We're gonna go over some things here with things that are coming up here around the area, and then, of course, waiting in the wings already here around close to 9:15. We're gonna bring on our featured guest of the night, which is superstar Steve Fender. Looking forward to this interview. This ought to be great. As always, with all of the guys that and girls that we invite on to the podcast to have a good sit-down interview with. And, man, just a lot. We just got a lot to talk about. This has been an exhausting weekend, with everything.
Ruby, come on. It has not been that exhausting. Like, we've had a great wrestling weekend. We got treated to some great wrestling last night. We have arguably one of my personal favorites of the local Midwest area, Steve Fender, on tonight. We are going to be banging and it's a beautiful thing tonight. Beautiful.
Yeah, it definitely is. Man, hopefully we're getting everybody out there to share the show, like, subscribe, follow. We definitely want to make sure we get a lot of people in here tonight. Yeah. It's it's been a crazy weekend for me because, personally, my wife had gone through a little bit of a health issue, but she's back home this evening, and so hopefully we're gonna have a smooth week. And I'm just praying and hoping for that. That's probably what Willie's talking about. Willie, thank you very much. But man, do I got to do it?
We got to do it again. Yeah, Willie. I was about to click on. Oh, there. You're doing that one. Okay.
And then I'll do this one too.
we had a mishap last week with Sid. Actually, Sid wanted to put out a challenge against Gino, and he wasn't on Facebook. He was a Facebook user, so we didn't even recognize it or see it, and I felt bad. But things happen. That's why you got to put your name in, Facebook users.
Yeah, I know. Some people who have challenges in other areas find a way to follow these instructions and get their name on it, but it's okay. So visit chat.restream.io or slash FB. I can't even read it right. Chat.restream.io slash FB to get your name and picture to show.
Yes, Facebook user.
Yeah,
You were
thank
showing
you.
his
I'm
face
showing
for
this
you.
face for you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Captain Obvious. Thank you. I love it. uh, oh my goodness. What do we? Why don't we get right into our shows here? Because we've got it out. We got a good outline here. We're gonna have some fun here. One of our fun segments we're gonna do right in the middle here of our interview, just to let you know. But we'll let you know what that is. And later on, we're going to be doing the review of the Royal Rumble after we get done with our featured guests of the evening. But let's just say the last night was probably one of the loudest reactions to a a major point in the story last night with about over 50, close to 52,000 people in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Alamo Dome, and you just the
Loud
reaction
and
last
clear
night.
saying F you, Roman.
Right. That was that was the only thing. We're going to talk about that later. But man, that was just if you missed the Rumble last night and if you haven't had a chance to watch it, guess what? We're gonna be spoiling some things here for you tonight. In fact, you know, you know if I'm supposed to know what is the link. Okay, could you do it one more time, Z?
I got you, buddy. I got you. It's right here. It's right here. It's
So
right there at
chat.
the top, guys.
It, you got to go to chat.restream.io slash FB. Once again, you may have to leave the chat for just a bit, but come back, and then we can see your beautiful picture and your name. So there you go. There you go. And let's go and get. Well, I was going to have the wrong thing.
We're losing you, Ruby. Just so you know.
I've had this for about 2 months. You'd think I know this by now. You would think I know this by now, but I don't. Here we
It's
go.
okay.
So we're going to go and share our shows upcoming here. We're going to start from the last one coming up to the most recent. So our latest one. And here we go right here. February 25th is for American Championship Wrestling. That's one of the stars that's going to be on here, Johnny Suede. And also with others, I will be there as well. This is in St. Clair, Missouri at the Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. Bell time is at 6, doors open at 5. Tickets are $6. You can go to you can visit acwtheshow.com for more information on those tickets. Then the week before that, February 18th, is at the Granite City Elks Lodge for IEW's Unrestricted. Of course, your boy Sid Holland there will be having some tough issues to deal with the commissioner of
So
IEW.
yes, actually, the commissioner called me today, and I
Uh-huh.
have some news. I have some news to announce, Ruby, for this show.
Oh, you got some news? I thought I had a.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. I didn't send this to you. I forgot to. Like me and the commissioner just got off the phone right before the show came on air, so I didn't have time to really get it together for you. But I have an announcement, and it's a big one. The commissioner wants to see myself, your boy, the Gym City Mouse Zmiz, in the ring because he's giving me an opportunity. Because the commissioner, that's what he does. He gives opportunities, right?
of course.
You're going to see We Talk Wrestling live. I'm getting my own talk show. Ruby, I'm getting my own talk show.
There you go. there's your headline beat late, but there you go.
I love it. But so this is gonna be a huge show, man. It's going to be dear to my heart now. Unfortunately, my good friend Sid is in the crosshairs of Mr. Commissioner, but hey,
Yeah.
I know where my paycheck gets paid, so I'm not getting involved, or at least I hope not to get involved.
There you go. Yeah, but it'll be. I'm hoping to attend the show because I want to see what goes down with your talk show, man.
I can't wait. And Barbie, we can't finally see you, dear.
Yeah. Here we go, February 11th, which is almost 2 weeks from tonight.
2
Just shy of
weeks.
2 weeks from tonight. We got the Big Texan taking on Attila Khan for the SICW Classic Championship. Devastation Incorporated and Dogtown Underground are barred from ringside. We're going to have other matches signed for that as well. That is returning to the Belclair Fairgrounds for this show. And if you attend that show, you'll get to go to the free TV taping the following day, going back to the East Carolina Lake Community Center, which that will start at noon on Sunday, February 12th. So make sure you bring a ticket stub. For more information on tickets and seating, you can call 618-286-4848 for more information on that. This coming Saturday, February 4th, is Mid-States Wrestling in Harrison, Arkansas. And, of course, all the main stars there. Of course, headlining Luke Langley, the Niles Plunkett, and the Space Cowboy Jason Jones, among others. You can call 858-848-SLAM for more information on tickets, or visit mswtickets.com to get those. So $10 for all seats. That's your special there. And make sure you attend that show. And then, of course, also this coming Saturday, which is where our feature guest will be, is World League Wrestling's Hard Knocks at the Harley Race Arena. Doors open at 6, bell times at 7. Make sure you visit harleyrace.com for more ticket information online to get those tickets in advance there. Okay. Now, let's get into the nitty gritty. There's been a lot of talk here of this event right here, May 13th. The big SICW Fan Fest in St. Louis. That would be in South St. Louis at the Aviator Hotel. Big names have this past week has been really exhausting for SICW, getting more stars. Z,
how does Herb do it? How does Herb just continuously just work? I don't understand it.
I don't get it either. I really don't. But check this out. But which, by the way, we are, if you haven't caught the news last week, we are an official sponsor, and we will be there all day at the Fan Fest. Myself, Z will be there. I know GQ will be in and out doing some things. What we have planned right now at this Fans Fest is to be determined, to be announced later. But we're cooking up some things here for you. For all of our fans here of the podcast. But let's get into who has just been announced. Now, if you remember, Ted DiBiase has been also on here. This is interesting to me. Virgil has been announced at the at the Fan Fest.
I'm pumped.
My question is, do you think he can get back into that old bodyguard suit, or does he not want to be his bodyguard? It's interesting how these two are going to. I think they'll coexist just fine, but it's quite interesting. Oh my gosh, here we go. There's not going to be any lonely Virgil picks. Okay, there's going to be a lot of people to hear, and a lot going down. So Virgil's been announced, and also.
Yes.
A legendary AWA International Television Champion, Greg Gagne, the son of Vern Gagne, the legendary AWA promoter. He will be in attendance at this, which I'm excited for that. That's actually one of my probably the favorite belt in AWA that I like.
Really?
Yeah, I like that title, the AWA International title. Oh, I mean, when it comes to that promotion. Here we
this
go.
Makes me happy.
The Brooklyn Brawler.
This makes me so happy.
The Brooklyn Brawler. Oh, my goodness. So he will be there at the Fan Fest now. Bushwhacker Luke has been announced at this Fan Fest. So we get to do the Bushwhacker bouts, and which make some of the people that are make them feel at home. Depends on where you come from. Just joking. See,
the Nasty Boys.
The Nasty Boys. Both of them will be in attendance at this Fan Fest. That is crazy. You know what's the crazier thing? I mean, you already know the Mouth of the South. Jimmy Hart is going to be there. So, I mean, my gosh, how many Blazers is Jimmy Hart going to bring with him?
Oh, so many.
He's going to have about a few garment bags. I'll tell you that right now. Flipping between each one. And here's another one that I'm psyched. Stan Elliott Hansen.
Dude, I never thought I'd ever meet this guy.
This dude was tough as nails. I mean, holy crap. You want to talk about a guy who this is probably one of the toughest guys that really mastered the lariat, one of the originators of the lariat, and that is fantastic that Stan Hansen is going to be there. Now, on to some other news with this FanFest. We already got Gerald Briscoe as a inductee going into the St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Now, we knew that James J. Dillon was going to be there, but he is actually going to be the second inductee into this year's St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame, being inducted by the one and only legendary promoter of SICW, Herb Simmons himself.
That's awesome.
Okay. And that's going to be fantastic as well. So here's your updated poster. We've got about it's increased volume by like 40% over the week.
You're not even going to have any. Herb's not going to have any room left if he keeps going. Like the guy, I just don't. He works too hard.
I mean, you can make more room. You just have to shrink the heads a little bit more.
Well, I don't know. There's guys like Enzo, Ted in there. Can you really shrink their heads that much more?
Right. So who we got? So we got, oh my gosh, you got Lee Warren at the top, who's the legendary wrestling at the Chase official, the grappler. Earl Hebner's another referee. It's going to be there. Dar the Stags, who's going to be the recipient of the Sam Munkschnick Award winner this year. And that's going to be at this. I mean, a lot of other stars there. So, I mean, visit SICW.org for more information on this great show. I mean, it just gets. And then also remember, one of the main events there is the Bruiser Brody, Larry Matisic, Tony Costa Memorial Battle Royal. And there's been a lot of new names that have been announced to that as well. So that's going to be part of the card that'll be there that night. So it's a full day, a full activity day. Everything starting at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
I'm going to be tired.
Oh,
tired. And it's just a lot of people don't know this, but I've actually am going to be a best man at someone's wedding the night before. So I've got I mean, I don't know how I'm going to pull it off, dude. I really am. I'm going to be like this at the microphone on May 14th.
Oh, man, dude. You better not be tired for Sunday that day.
Tired, but not at the mic. Oh my god, dude! It's gonna be something else. I'll tell you that right now. But let's go ahead and hide this because we have got our guest on cue. I know we're probably just a few minutes behind, but
he's not going to be mad at us.
Yeah, everything's all good. So we are set to go. And I want to make sure I've got everything in line here so I can see everything. There we go. There we go. Keep coming with those comments, guys. Remember, make sure you share the show.
I was just going to say that while you're commenting, make sure you're sharing, guys. Come on. Tell your friends. Steve Fender, superstar Steve Fender, right here in the house tonight.
That's right. And in fact, he's rated right on cue. So our guest tonight has had almost 23 years experience here in this business as of today, training with one of the legendary names in this business and going on to a very successful career, wrestling across 11 states in this country, multiple championships that you can't even keep count of, doing 14 tours in Japan through Pro Wrestling Noah, and he is the current New Breed television champion, New Breed Wrestling TV champion, and the current and defending WOW heavyweight champion as of this coming Saturday. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Falls Count Everywhere podcast. It is superstar Steve Fender. Steve, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, man, thank you for joining us here, man. We had a lot to get through. I appreciate you kind of waiting about a few minutes or so. Well, we've actually got a lot more to do, but I mean, that's after you're gone. But I know we got you for a while, but how's the body feeling? I mean, you've got a big weekend coming up with WLW defending that title, man.
Yeah, big weekend coming up. I don't know who I'm wrestling when when the show's going to start, but I'll be there. I'll be defending against somebody. If you want to know who it is, show up, I guess, because that's when I'm going to find out. But
Wow.
yeah, for the most part, the body's holding up well. Typical little nagging injuries you get after 23 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just nagging injuries, like stiff joints and making sure that something that's got pulled or ripped doesn't get pulled or ripped again.
Exactly.
That's pretty much it.
It's
Apparently,
pretty
someone's
changes as you get older.
right, exactly. Someone's already asking for a friend if you have any MRW cards left.
I do have some of the MRW cards, but I have no idea where they are. I lost those, but I do have some other cards that Scotty Z over at New Breed had made. So yeah, I do have some cards. They're just not the MRW cards.
Yeah, if you always find some, you can put them on eBay just for you. Just buy it now, special $100. You got to make that money somehow, right? Right.
That's the goal.
That's the goal, right? Oh, shoot. We're going to dig right into our questions here. And of course, I usually kick it off trying to get this interview party started here. But Steve, tell us about because we already know about your background, because your first experience, of course, getting into this business. And, you trained with the legendary and great, Harley race, one of the greatest NWA champions of all time.
Arguably the greatest.
Right.
Depends on who you ask.
Right. Exactly right. Don't ask Flair.
Even Ric Flair just this week said Harley was the greatest. So, I mean, that's you're hearing it from one of the greatest himself saying that Harley was the greatest. So, I mean, take it for what you want.
Right. In fact, even Ric Flair, just on a side note, he on his podcast this past week, he was talking about the toughest ring he was in, and he said, "Nope, St. Louis." St. Louis, because he was talking about WWF rings, how tough they were. Like, nope, St. Louis. Yeah. But they got that wrestling that the chase ring doesn't exist no more for that condition anyway. I think that was probably a boxing ring, if you want my honest opinion.
I do remember watching the title change with Harley and Terry Funk from, I believe it was Toronto. It was in Canada somewhere. I believe it was Toronto. And hell, it doesn't get much better than sitting on a couch at Harley's house on a Saturday or Sunday morning, whatever day it was. I believe it was Saturday, but I don't recall after all these years. But Harley in his underwear watching TV and me sitting there in the other chair, and it just him talking about the match. And one of the things he pointed out was, watch that ring. You don't see any give in it, do you? No, Harley, I sure don't. It was hard.
We've heard a lot of stories, not just Flair and Race, but other legends as well that have been in there that have talked about that ring. And so if they're saying it, you've got to believe it by then. But take us back to early 2000 when you first get to the academy. Tell us about your first day of your training there, and throughout the course of going through their school, what important elements from the training did you that you use in your matches today?
Oh man, that's a lot of information you're wanting. That's going to take a lot of recollecting after a whole lot of bumps. I can tell you that.
Right. Well, the most important elements, I should say, because I know there's a lot of elements, but if there's something that very important that you have to point out, what would those be?
Well, let's narrow this down even a little bit more. For what reason are we pointing this out? Are we pointing this out for people in the business or just people listening in general?
Both.
Listening in general, because we may also have some outsiders that still want to get into this business, who want to train, and obviously Harley School speaks for itself. Even WLW training still speaks for itself today, So, but one aspect, not too much of an insight, but if you can give a generalization of that, what would that be?
I would say the biggest thing is body control, being able to control your body and make it do what comes unnaturally. Because I mean, falling on your back is not natural, or doing a 270-degree front flip and landing on your back isn't normal. You don't see people walking down the street doing that out of nowhere, right? So, I mean, the amount of body control it takes and the amount of repetition with that body control to get really good at it is, I mean, you have to really want it, because I've seen guys that have started out and haven't really made it past the bump phase, and then they realize, man, this stuff hurts a whole lot more than I thought it would. You know, you'd be surprised how many people walk into either a wrestling show or a training center and go, "Oh wow, I didn't realize it really wasn't a trampoline." And, no, the ring's not a trampoline.
It is not. It is not a trampoline.
But
It is,
for some
yeah,
reason, people have that in their minds that it is. You know, and it probably come to a shock, or it does come to a shock to a lot of them. But workers or just people in general, I would say if you're looking to get into the business, or if you want to know something about the business, it is not. I mean, it's probably not cut and dry. Is you got to have body control. You got to have body control to protect yourself. You got to have body control to protect the guy you're working with. You have to have body control to stay healthy. I mean, you can hit your head, you can break your neck. Yeah, I've seen it all, man. It's easy to do. It happens in a second.
That's
that
a
I
fact.
agree. Yeah, absolutely. Because I've actually seen it early in my career. Someone taking a weird bump um to where they got hurt. So I totally get it. You definitely have to be careful with whenever you're getting inside the ring, and that's the most important thing. Let's kind of take a look what we're looking at here. So this was actually just sent over to me.
This is going back in time right here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This photo here. Yeah, so you see Trevor, that's back there.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. It's like the Harrison Scott studs back there. Johnny
If
Jett.
you blow it up a
Uh,
little more, I could
Yeah,
tell you
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. Zoom it in a little bit. Can you zoom it in a little bit, Ruby?
I don't know if I can.
I
Let
know a
me
little
see.
arrow thing like to.
I'm
Okay.
going to try and see if I can zoom in. If I can't, I do definitely apologize. But
Don't
I can do
apologize.
my best. I can do my best how it is. I know Grizz is on the far, from my screen, he's on the far left in the polo shirt, the horizontal striped polo shirt. That's
oh yeah,
Grizz. He's used some other names, and I don't remember. Stiff Jackson was one of his other personas. Really nice guy. I love him. Front row referee, I believe that's Skippy. That's John Cone on right in front of Grizz. People would know him from WWE, but he started out in the Kansas City area, and then he worked for Harley for several years before WWE snatched him up. Right next to him would be Johnny Gold in the white tank top, and then Deputy Dale Heiser, who I had my first match against, is in the sheriff's uniform. Right next to him would be Skippy Johnson. Next to him is Tim Warcloud, who is legit Indian. Second row back, I'm thinking that's Malaya Hisaka there, right
yeah,
next to Grizz. And then Trevor, Matt Murphy, my tag team partner off and on for many years. Nice guy, great guy. Next to him is drill instructor, then Johnny Jett. I'm going to say that's Steve Murphy behind Johnny Jett, but
that
I'm not
is.
sure.
Yeah, that is. that
Um,
is.
Back row in the yellow shirt, it looks like, would
Yeah,
be,
that's stud. That's stud
yeah,
or chopper.
yeah,
I should say.
Chopper. He ended up going by Chopper in WLW for a little while. Dropping well up on right next to him. That girl is Shay Physique. She's up from Minnesota area.
Yeah,
Wrestled quite a few years for Harley. Then of course there I am. I think I'm shirtless right next to her. I think
yeah,
she was actually. I think she was on one half of me and one half of Di's
yeah.
shoulder.
That's what it looks like.
And
Yeah,
then one of the Harris twins is in the far back in the middle. It's probably, I can't tell, but I think it's Ron in the far back middle. And then you got Dustin Rhodes, Haku, the other Harris twin. I think it's Don, but I'm not positive.
yeah.
and I can't really see who's in between the Harris twin and Grizz. Not really making that out.
You mean the little head?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, this was prior to, I think it was prior to a show in Jefferson City at the Capitol Plaza Hotel. It was a big show. It was a huge show. It was one of my first 15 shows for sure. I want to say it was around the 10 to 12 show mark, but one of my first 15 for sure. It was huge. It was sold out in Jeff City. Harley brought in Dustin Rhodes, the Harris twins, and Haku, and we did a 3-day run. Started, I want to say it was somewhere in Kansas. It was at a bar in Kansas. I can't think of the name of it. And then we did another show, and then we did Jeff City. And Jeff City was the last night of it. Actually, it could have been just a 2-day. It could have been somewhere in Kansas on Friday. I think that's what it was, actually. Somewhere in Kansas on Friday, and then Jeff City on Saturday. This was the last show. Pretty sure this is right before the show. In this show, myself and Dell Heiser had a handicap match against Haku, and as you can imagine, we got our asses handed to us.
Right.
A funny little story if you want to hear it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, me and Dell, we both debuted on the same day. We wrestled each other, May 20th, 2000, and both greener than grass, don't know shit in the business. And here we are wrestling Haku, who is on WCW TV, been in the business for God knows how many years at that point. Probably somewhere around 20 is my guess, but immense knowledge, legit badass, and somebody that you knew you just didn't want to piss off in the ring. And so we're going through the ring, we're going through the match, and I remember I ran in, and Haku, cool as hell, he would, if it made sense in the match, he would let us do it. He was okay with us calling something as long as it made sense. If it didn't make sense, he wasn't going to let us do it. Case in point, at somewhere in the beginning of the match, I tried suplexing him, and he was like, He didn't say anything, but in his mind, he was going, nope. So at some point later, toward the end of the match, I remember I was lost for what I could do against Haku, because at this time I was probably tops 190 pounds soaking wet. And Dell was right in the same boat as me, probably a little less. He was probably in the 175, 180 range. And I was just looking for stuff to do. And I happened to call out splash, in the corner. I don't remember if I shot him across or if I just ran and did a splash on him, but there's a splash coming regardless. And I hit it, and I had no idea what to do after that. And so I tagged Dell. And Dell came in, and he did one or two moves. And then next thing you know, he's shooting Haku across the ring, and he charges in to do something, which turned out to be the same splash that I just did. And as Dell leaves his feet, Haku, standing in the corner, also leaves his feet, holding himself up on the top rope. He brings his knees up to his chest and just mule kicks the shit out of Dell.
Oh my God.
And I kid you not, he flew back almost halfway across the ring, and immediately the first thing I thought of was, oh shit, we pissed him off.
Right.
And so we went through the rest of the match, and I don't remember how much more of the match there was at that point, but I just remember thinking after the match was over, walking to the back, we're going to he's going to beat the shit out of us in the locker room. We're going to get our asses handed to us. And so I believe I know we got back there before he did, but once he come back in the locker room, he thanked me for the match, and I was like, huh? And then he turns down and he goes, "But you!" And I was like, oh shit. And he proceeds to rip into Dell. Why you call the same move he just did? Just goes off on this tangent on Dell about how I just did that move. He watched me do it. He, up one side and down the other. And I was scared shitless the whole time, even though he never said anything intimidating or mean to me. But man, If you want to find scared real quick, go look for Haku because he'll show you.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, um, Haiku's really nobody to mess with. So,
No, no.
I definitely
Yeah. Even today,
respect.
I'd be hard pressed to mess with him.
I mean, that show at the Spookery, he definitely took it to Attila Khan. So I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't touch him either.
Guys that have been in the business for a long time and were feared at one time, and it doesn't just go away, right? that follows them their whole career. So, I mean, if you're brave enough to want to do something stupid, by all means, go ahead and try. But I wouldn't recommend it.
That's a fair bet. And with all that success that you carried through Harley races, school and stuff, you got so many opportunities. One of those being, just like was mentioned right here by a Facebook user, uh, to go and work WWE shows. What was that like, and what was that experience that you took away from that, and what was the best memory actually of that?
You have to ask your whole question again because I was just reading the comment that just came
That's
across
fair.
about me teaming with Curtis Axel.
Who still has never entered the Royal Rumble, by the way.
Yeah.
Now we can add Ray too. But what I was saying is, what was one of the biggest memories, best memories from that? Like those opportunities come far in between, and you had a lot of those actually. You actually got to enjoy quite a bit of those.
Oh man, I've wrestled a lot of name talent over the years. I've been in the ring with a lot of name talent. A lot of that was due to Harley. Harley saw something in me, and he pushed me. You know, he saw something in me, but don't get me wrong. I rose to the level of what he saw in me, which is why he continued to put me in the positions he put me in, or had me do the things that he wanted me to do. Right. It wasn't like I just got this stuff handed to me. I busted my ass in Japan to be able to do 14 tours. They don't just ask guys to come back if you didn't impress them, or if they think that you were half-assing your way through stuff. You don't just go back. So to get 14 tours was impressive at the time. My time there was awesome. Those memories are great. But man, just seeing the level of respect that everybody in the business had for Harley. I emailed Rick a lot of information prior to the show, several days ago, and one of those was in January of 2001 when I made my first appearance for WWE here in St. Louis at, I believe it was a Kiel Center at the time. So here I am, like 9 months, 10 months into the business, wrestling in front of 20,000 people, me and Matt Murphy taking on Kaientai. But just in the back, in the locker room, in the dressing room, walking around catering, walking around backstage area, Harley, we actually rode up the night before with Harley. So Sunday night, we drove up to St. Louis, stayed in a hotel room, and went to the Kiel Center on Saturday afternoon. And just from the time we showed up to the time we left, the amount of respect that everybody showed Harley was astonishing. The people that Harley would bring in, I mean, nobody has ill words to say about Harley, at least not to his face anyway, right?
Right.
But just the sheer magnitude of respect that the guy, I don't even know that he commanded it, but he sure as hell got it. And more than anything, that's what sticks out to me. I mean, there's some stuff that I did that was awesome, that was fun, that was great, that people guys on the independents may never get the chance to do. But man, just being around Harley and hearing the stories and seeing the amount of respect. And it wasn't just at WWE shows; it was the guys he brought in, unbeknownst to me, but learned later as the years would go by. I didn't know Haku used to carry Harley's bags when he was in Japan,
Wow.
but he did. And to this day, if you asked Haku who one of the, who he thought the greatest wrestler was, the Harley race would be up there in his top three. And it's just something that sticks out to me is the amount of respect and knowing that I was trained under him. I was there, I got his tutelage, well, nobody can say it now, but I mean, back then there wasn't a whole hell of a lot of people that were saying it, and I was one of them.
Very
Yeah.
well. Yeah. Yeah, like obviously, Trevor, was and he went on to flourish as well. And of course, former two-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion. So and of course, a career spent in WWE. WWE Tag Team Champion. I mean, there's a lot of success that comes out of that academy and out of that promotion period. A lot of respect for Harley, especially. I have a feeling. Of course, I can confirm, but maybe with Triple H or even with whoever heads up in WWE or WWF has nothing but respect for Harley.
Absolutely. If Harley ever needed anything in life or in business, all he had to do was call Vince, and Vince almost always would give him whatever he wanted. And that was because Harley was Vince's favorite wrestler. And that's legit. And the amount of respect that Vince had for Harley, and knowing that he stole Harley from the NWA and that Harley made some amount of money for him. I mean, he never forgot that.
It's funny to me that you keep saying that like all these people are favorites, because like one of my early memories of Harley Race is my grandmother literally throwing stuff at the TV because of that man. So I saw it from a whole nother side. I didn't get to see that or experience the other side of Harley, but he was one of my favorite. I've always been a bad guy fan, and Harley was one of those guys that I drawn to, all because my grandmother, here's my great grandmother, getting me into the professional wrestling world, watching wrestling with me, and her dislike for him, that I have to like him because she doesn't like him. So
Absolutely.
Oh man, that's awesome. So like I said, with all the time you've had, with all these names that you've been in the industry, is there I don't know, I'm probably maybe asking maybe a too narrow of a question, but if you don't, like if you can remember something of like your greatest feud or storyline that you've had in your career between either with against somebody, with a tag team against another tag team, what was the most memorable or greatest one that involved you that you liked personally?
WLW, if anybody followed WLW at the time, Harley didn't run a whole lot of angles or a whole lot of storylines. He just put wrestling out there because he wanted wrestling to be the feature of everything. And a lot of the stuff he did was fundraisers. And so if he was doing a fundraiser, he didn't want to make an angle on one show and then go to a different area and try to catch the fans up to what was going on with all the storylines. So he presented wrestling matches, and he typically had 5 matches per show. But on occasion, he would have 6 matches, and his matches were longer, usually in the 10 to 15 minute range for singles matches, and anywhere from 15 to hell, I wrestled up to 45 minutes in tag team matches. So, I mean, wrestling was the focus of his shows, and that's what he wanted to focus on. So there's really, storyline wise, there was not a lot of stuff, but real life, I wouldn't even say feuds, but Trevor Murdoch and I pushed each other constantly because we didn't want the other one to one up us, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, right.
we wrestled many singles matches, and we also ended up doing a lot of tag team matches as well. It would be Trevor, and pretty much his partner of the week is basically what it was, whether it be Wade Chisholm, Bull Schmidt, somebody that Harley randomly paired with him. It didn't matter, but tag matches with Trevor and an opponent, the ones that stick out the most are Trevor and Bull or Trevor and Wade against mostly me and Matt Murphy, but we went through a period there where I was going through quite a few tag team partners myself. So I mean, the tag team matches that you saw in WLW for many years, probably a 6 or 7 year span, were top notch. Any of those matches really stick out to me. But I know that myself and Matt faced Trevor, and it was either Bull or Wade, and I don't remember which one it was, but we wrestled him in Eldon, Missouri one day or one Saturday. And it was a sold out show, which at the time was pretty much par for the course. This was early 2000s, 2001 or so, maybe 2002. And whatever the finish of the match was went down, and then there was an intermission right after that. And Matt and I went to an area where they had autograph tables set up, and we sat out there to sign autographs. And when we went out there, this room was packed with people that were so pissed off from the finish that they came in and was chanting cheaters at us. And I would say that stuck out to me too, as being something that's pretty memorable, because stuff like that doesn't really happen, but we made it happen. So kind of a feather in our cap, if you will.
That's nice. That's awesome. Because I mean, I remember you and Matt wrestling a lot as a tag, and you guys are really fluent as a tag team.
Yeah,
Obviously, with working so many years together.
right.
So,
Matt had a really good mind for the business. His in-ring was definitely passable. It was better than most people's, but I don't think his body was built to be able to put it through the rigors of pro wrestling for a long period of time, which is unfortunate, because his mind for the business and his mind for psychology and matches was unmatched in the area.
Wow. So with that being said about the different styles and stuff, you already talked about going to Japan. What was some of the comparison of going to Japan and then already knowing the U.S. style? And then, like, what's one of the attributes you would take from one or the other to complete this, who you are now, the Steve Fender that we all know?
So my first tour of Japan was in July of 2001. So if you're doing the math, I've been in the business for about 17 months or so at that point in time. Which is unheard of as well. But quite honestly, that was 100% the result of Pro Wrestling Noah wanting to use Harley's name. And part of using Harley's name was Harley said, "You're going to use my guys too." And so, we owe a lot to Harley for that. But like I said earlier, if we weren't doing our part to be able to stay over there, we wouldn't have gone back as much as we did. And I definitely wouldn't have been back as much as I went back. But when I first went over in 2001, I didn't think I was great by any means. But I found out how much I needed to improve when I got over there, because their worst workers blew away the guys that I worked with in WLW. Totally blew them away. And that, to me, said a whole lot, and that pushed me to get better as well. And so one aspect of this is you're thinking of yourself as inferior. Another aspect is I'd watched Japanese wrestling on tape, but I'd never experienced it firsthand. Right. So if you've ever watched Japanese wrestling, you'll notice that for the most part, the crowd is pretty quiet, right? If they see something they like, they'll polite applause. But for most of the undercard, that's the way it is. When you get to the main event with the more known stars of the groups, whether it be New Japan Pro Wrestling, Noah, All Japan Pro Wrestling, whoever it was, then you start to hear the people get involved with the matches more. But it's not to the degree of what you see here in the United States. It's not the fans heckling the wrestlers. It's legitimate respect for the wrestlers is what you're seeing. So when I went over there and I started to think I wasn't, it was out of my league. I shouldn't be there to start with. but I wasn't just going to sit there and say, I'm going to go back to the States and say I don't need to go back ever again. No, it pushed me to want to go back and get better. And in order to go back and get better, Scorpio, Too Cold Scorpio, who pretty much took me under his wing on the first tour, he got me booked in their dojo. And
Wow.
if anybody knows anything about the wrestling dojos over there, that's how you get into contact sports, whether it be sumo wrestling, pro wrestling, fencing. A lot of the sports use a dojo in order to train their young boys to be able to work up the ladder to finally make it to the cards, right? So lots of, I shouldn't even say lots. There's some American pro wrestlers or foreign pro wrestlers that have had the opportunity to train over there. Scorpio is one of those, but even more known than Scorpio was Chris Benoit, who I had watched and admired and was my favorite wrestler for many, many years. And as far as in ring goes, he probably still is one of my top guys. Outside the ring, what he did, definitely deplorable. And the reason he's not remembered today is for the outside the ring stuff that he did. But knowing that I could get in, I could better myself and advance in my career by going and training over there, I jumped at the opportunity. And it was at that point. So I did the first tour in July. I came back in August. I stayed from August till October training in their dojo. But pretty much every time I'd come back to the States, I would incorporate something I was learning or doing over there, whether it's cardio stuff, outside the ring, exercises as far as squats or working on abs or something to help you physically inside the ring, neck exercises, stuff along those lines. I was incorporating that. And then I also incorporated it into our training at the Harley Race Wrestling Academy as well. So it wasn't just me that was doing it. It was all the guys that were training there as well. And it was bettering all of us at the same time. So it was huge at the time for us to be able to get in there and be able to get that exposure to those guys and come back to the States and to be able to expose the guys that weren't going to that to help better them as well.
Nice. I was going to ask you that. Was there any of those things you were learning over there and bringing back? Because, you seem like a student of the game as much as the teacher now of it. So that's what I would do. You seem like that sponge.
Absolutely. At the time, and that's how I viewed myself for my whole life. I'm a sponge. I'll soak up pretty much anything and everything I can. If I'm interested in something, I want to learn about it, right? And when I started in the pro wrestling business, I wanted to learn about the pro wrestling business, whether it was from Harley, whether it was in Japan, whether it was somebody in WWE that had feedback from me, whether it was from the guy I just worked in a match 5 minutes ago that, had some critique for me, or whether it's one of the guys that watched the match and critiqued it. Tell me what you got. And if I think it's applicable to me, something I could change to do better to make what I'm doing in the ring better, I'm all ears, man. I'm more than happy to listen. I may not incorporate what you have to say, but I'm all ears. And I think anybody that wants to make strides in the business has to be that way. You may not be open to making the changes, but at least listen to the stuff that the veterans are telling you. Hey, you should try this instead, or I saw you do this. Why'd you do that? Okay, now I know why you tried it, but let me tell you why you shouldn't have done that. Stuff like that, and bringing that back and teaching the other guys the same thing, and passing the information along. Like I can't tell you how many times over the years I've told somebody, hey, back in the day, Scorpio told me this, or back in the day, Vader told me that, or back in the day, Harley told me this. Most of the guys that are out there aren't going to hear that information from anybody else. So if I heard it from somebody and I can pass that information along to help the local product, I'm going to help somebody.
Amen. Amen. Ruby, your mic's not working, brother. We're not hearing you.
Oh, how's that possible?
There you go.
Is that?
You tell us.
Oh, I turned myself off. How's that? Okay. Well, now that we've established that I don't know what the hell I'm doing, um, let's move on then. Uh, holy crap! Okay, is it? It's Monday early. All right. So, as I was saying, now that you can hear me, not just read whatever I'm trying to say, um, so sponging off everything throughout your career, obviously you have to learn from the greats. Like I said, these list of names, and we've already seen what was in the photo for WLW, but Greg Valentine, the Barbarian, Buff Bagwell, the Road Warriors, Vader, Nigel McGuinness, Brian Danielson, Tracy Smothers, Raven, Juventud Guerrera. I mean that's quite a list of people.
Damn.
You
had me at Nigel McGuinness.
Right. So with all of those names and iconic names that you've been in the ring with, is there anyone that was your favorite to be in the ring with, and if so, why?
Of the name guys, well, I'll tell you who I respect the most, and that is Sho Funaki, because I wrestled Sho Funaki the first time in 2001, and he was respectful, because he knew we was Harley's guys, so he was respectful to start with. But every time I came back after that, he knew, that. So that was in January of 2001. In July of 2001, I started going to Japan, and anytime I went back to the WWE for any tapings after that, he always came up to me and talked to me, because one of his buddies, Daisuke Ikeda, they used to work together in Battle Arts, and Ikeda worked for Noah now, so he would always ask me to tell Ikeda this, or he'd have some snippet of information he wanted me to tell somebody, or he'd want to know how everybody was or how my last tour was. Genuine, awesome guy, and you don't get that from a lot of guys that are on the main roster for anybody. But he was always 100% real with me, and I couldn't respect him more for that, because I can tell you, I'll throw out another name. I don't remember if I put Al Snow in the name of people I worked in that email.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Al Snow. Is he knowledgeable? Yes. Does he know what he's doing in the ring? Yes. But I think he was kind of a prick to me one time, because I wrestled Maven on Sunday Night Heat, and Maven gave me too much in the match. And when we was going over the match, I knew I was getting too much in this match, right? It's supposed to be a squash match. And Maven's like, oh, no, do something else. I'm like, all right, well, we can do this, isn't it? And by the time it's all said and done, Maven was thrilled with how everything turned out. When the match was over and I thanked him for the match, he's like, yeah, man, thanks. You might want to go talk to Gerald Briscoe. He wasn't too happy either. So when I went to talk to Gerald Briscoe, who was the agent for the match, he pretty much told me that Maven made me that night, even though I'd already been to Japan multiple times. And so somebody got in Gerald's ear, even though Gerald had the whole match laid out for him. Somebody got in his ear and decided that Maven gave me too much. Well, that's the same thing that Al Snow thought. And asking Al Snow for any kind of critique was like pulling teeth. And I specifically asked him, Al, did you happen to watch the match? Because Al was Maven's mentor, and I knew that. And watching the rest of the show, at some point, Al was sitting in a chair in front of me, and I reached over and I said, Al, do you have any critique from my match? And he kind of looks over and he goes, maybe later. And from that point on, I have not liked the son of a bitch anymore.
Okay, so Christmas card is out. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Maven's still one of my favorites. No lie. No lie at all.
But Buff Bagwell was cool as hell. I love working Buff. The Road Warriors were really great. So it was the Road Warriors against myself and my tag team partner, and one of the guys that's currently helping me out in New Breed Wrestling, Derek McQuinn. And the Road Warriors were cool as hell. We wrestled the match. They sold for me, and then when Derek would tag in, they'd stop selling. And it pissed Derek off when the match was over. But with Road Warriors were cool as shit. And Animal, even years later, that match was probably in 03 or 04. I don't remember. Maybe 05. I don't remember. But early 2000s. And I didn't see Road Warrior Animal for many years until he had moved to St. Louis and started doing some of the local shows. And Harley brought him in for a couple shows. And I brought an old 8x10 that Derek had sent me as a blown up picture from a 3x5, right? And it was me and Derek with the Road Warriors and shaking their hand, and you could tell Animal was just like, oh man, that's awesome, dude. He was happy that I'd wrestled him and that I'd come up and approached him and had this 8x10, but he was cool as hell. He was a legit good dude. And every time I saw him after that, he was always nice to talk to, easy to talk to. And he's not one of those guys that would just blow you off. So much respect for him. Tracy Smothers is an independent wrestler, man. The dude made it big to some degree. And if he met you, he'd never forget you. And I wrestled him one time for Ian Rotten down in IWA Mid-South and didn't see him for quite a few years after that. But before the match, legit, the baby faces and heels had different locker rooms. I never talked to him before the match. And my first introduction to him was in the ring. I get introduced first, and then Tracy comes out, and he gets introduced, and he's pacing back and forth in the ring. And he's like, "Hey, Steve, nice to meet you. I'm Tracy Smothers." I was like, "Well, no shit. I know who you are. I should be introducing myself to you, right?" The guy was down to earth, just a great guy. And so I wrestled him for Ian. Didn't see him for years, and then I did a show for RCW and somewhere around Rolla, St. James area at a racetrack. I can't remember. Brian Thompson was the promoter, and Tracy come in for it, and he didn't remember me from my look, but once I said, "Hey Tracy, nice to see you again," he kind of got this look like, "Shit, where do I know you from?" I was like, "Superstar Steve." He's like, "Oh, hey Steve, how's it going?" And then he's like, "Man, I remember wrestling you. I remember coming and wrestling Wild Wade. How's Wild Wade doing these days, brother?" Just a cool fucking guy, man. If he knew you and he liked you, he backed you 100%. Just cool as shit. Love Tracy Smothers. Greg Valentine, I think, was kind of prickish, and Harley told me that going in, so I kind of knew that. But
yeah, I didn't approach him when he came to the spectacular. I'm like, he was he looked like he was like, when the hell am I getting out of here since he got there? It's like
he's nice enough if you talk to him a little bit, but there's a lot of guys where I intentionally try to keep my space because I know all the other wrestlers on the card are going to go and try to talk to him. So a lot of times I won't say a whole lot to a guy. I'll come in and I'll just say, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm Steve." And just leave it at that. And if I see a space where they're open, just sitting in a chair, maybe watching the show or whatever, nobody's bugging them, then I'll go over and talk to them. I did talk to Roddy Piper one time. Harley brought him in for some shows. This is in El Dorado Springs, Missouri. And I had wrestled. I think I had a singles match that night, but early in the card, and I wrestled, went back, got dressed, and come up this stairwell and was going to watch from one of the entrance doors. It was just a 3-foot wide door, and they kept it shut, but it was one of the wrestler entrances, whether it was as the hill entrance actually. But anyway, Roddy was standing in the doorway with the door cracked watching the show, and I was like, "Oh shit." Well, he heard me walking up the stairs, and he's like, "Oh, hey, you want to watch?" And I was like, "No, sir, you go right ahead," But I sat there, I talked to Roddy for probably 15 minutes. And he was a cool, down-to-earth guy, too. I asked him a little bit of advice on some stuff, and he told me some stuff, and just cool as shit, Mick Foley is another guy that's really down-to-earth. He did quite a few appearances for Harley, and he's one of those guys that if he hadn't been hit in the head so many times, he'd probably remember a lot more names. But back in those days, a lot of times Harley would fly guys into Kansas City or St. Louis, and he'd have somebody that was coming from either Kansas City or St. Louis pick them up and drive them to the show. Well, my buddy and one of my nemesis in the ring was a guy named Dakota, who is legitimately from North Dakota. And one time, Dakota's job was to pick Mick Foley up from the Kansas City airport, and on the ride from KCI to wherever we was wrestling in Missouri, you know, they got to talking, and Mick's like, so who all's going to be on the show? And he starts listing off names of guys that he thought was going to be on there, and he said, how about Superstar Mike? Dakota's like, nah, Superstar Steve. Oh yeah, Superstar Steve. He seemed like he was a pretty good guy, but I think he's one of those guys that would probably remember a whole lot more names, but he'd been hit in the head and put his body through so many things that some of that stuff is just too hard for him to think of anymore, probably.
I had the pleasure to go up to Keokuk, Iowa. So I live in Quincy, Illinois, right? I got a phone call one day, like, hey, come up here for the show. I got you a ticket. Don't worry. I'm like, whatever. Mick Foley was doing his comedy show, right? Yeah. And I made sure to stay after. Like, my buddy's like, hey, we got to get going home. I'm like, no, dude, we need to stay, right? We need to stay. And I'm like, I want to be last to meet Mick, because it was like this VIP show kind of thing. And Mick and I spent about 45 minutes conversating, talking. He did a little thing for my We Talk Wrestling page and all that stuff. And oh my God, is he one of the nicest, one of the just most down-to-earth dudes ever. And he was complaining about Selena Vega not getting her match on SmackDown for when the 9/11 thing was on 9/11. Yeah, because her dad passed away in 9/11, and he was so upset. And him and I went back and forth on it, like, dude, like he was upset, and it was awesome to spend that minutes with him.
Yeah, for sure. A couple other names I didn't even put on that list. I just thought of as we were sitting here talking. I wrestled Big Boss Man and Butch Reed in a tag match early in my career too. Within probably like the first year for sure. I don't remember when it was, but that was cool as shit. And Big Boss Man was just the nicest guy you could ever meet too. I really liked him.
That'd be a cool one to watch.
That's awesome. How about we take a look at some more pictures here? Sure. This is you and Matt Murphy, right?
Yes, sir. It's me and Matt Murphy. Skippy Johnson's the referee, and that in the corner there is Haku. And
is that after the splash or the kickback?
That's a different match. So this is me and Matt Murphy. So I bet you we was wrestling Haku and Barbarian in a tag match in this one. I'm not sure where this was taken. Actually, this looks like Remington's down in Springfield, because you got the red and the blue lights up there. This may have been a bar show. That may be where it was from. But yeah, early in my career, when Haku and Barbarian come in for Herb's show not too long ago, back in October, this is one of the pictures I brought and showed him.
Nice.
How about this next one here? What the heck is Harley doing to you here? Looks like
he's giving him Harley a titty twister. It looks like
this right here was from the very first WLW Christmas party in 2000, and I can tell you right now, I was drunk off my ass, and Harley was probably, if he wasn't drunk, he was heading that direction. I guarantee you. This is the only picture I have from that night, but BJ made a collage of pictures of guys that come in over the years, and she has a picture of Harley. I don't remember. He's got me on the ground, and he's doing something to me. I don't remember now, but the picture to this day is in a montage of like it's not an 8x10. It's a bigger picture frame. It's like a 12x12 picture frame, but it's in a montage of different pictures that are in that. And that, that was a good night. That was pretty cool.
Nice. Now, and this is you at
this
is a close-up of you and Haku.
That's me and Haku, and I'm pretty sure this is from Eldon, Missouri. Looking at the ceiling there, it looks like a corrugated metal that's in the Eldon Community Center. If I was a guess, I'd say that's where it is, but I'm not really sure. But I mean, just an awesome picture. It looks like I had just done some kind of offensive maneuver to Haku, and he's looking at me like, "What the fuck, kid?"
He does look kind of dazed.
I can't tell if you've got that look, or Haku's getting ready to throw something.
I think that is the look I have. Is like, "Oh shit, now what?"
Right. Oh, and we got. Oh, here we go. This is from Noah over in
Yeah.
Japan.
Yep, this is a picture from Japan. This was in 2008. I was in really good shape back then. Yeah, this is the last tour I did for Noah in 2008. This was a picture that a fan took in Cork and Hall. Cork and Hall has like a balcony around the top portion. Well, it's not even around the top; it's just on two sides. But they sell tickets up there, and fans go up there, and the regulars that show up to the shows would have pictures supporting different, or not pictures. They would have banners that would be supporting different factions. But somebody that was up on that balcony took this picture and ended up giving it to me.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
And we got a couple more here before we move on to our next segment. But how about this? Because we hear about a story of you and Ricky Steamboat here.
Ricky Steamboat's another really awesome dude, man. I've met Ricky countless times over the years. When I first started in the business, Les Thatcher and Ricky Steamboat was paired up doing a little bit of stuff here and there, but then they brought Harley into it and started doing seminars with Ricky and Harley and Les. And that's where I first met Ricky. And this is actually in Harley's office in Troy, Missouri, but this is one of the last times he came to WLW. So this was probably not that many years ago. This is probably back in like 2015, 2016, 2017, maybe. I'm not sure. It's somewhere in that time frame, maybe 2018. I don't remember now. But hell of a nice guy. I always loved Ricky Steamboat. And side note, not too many guys on the independent scene can say they took an arm drag from Ricky Steamboat, but I took several arm drags from Ricky Steamboat doing those seminars and got to be in the ring, helping assist Ricky and doing different bumps and different things to help show the other guys in attendance. So yeah, that was cool as hell too.
Nice. I got one more here.
Yeah.
Harley and Terry Funk.
Harley and Terry, man. Terry's another guy that's nice as hell too, man. Just a down to earth, easygoing guy. You could always go up and talk to Terry. He always loved talking to everybody. But I couldn't tell you how many times that Harley brought Terry Funk in to do shows, but this was one of them. And I knew that I needed to get a picture with both of them together, and I did.
Nice, yeah. And you also did you also mention already that or mention before that you took a suplex from Harley?
Yeah. Well, I took the suplex, but I also sandbagged Harley on that suplex.
Oh,
and I heard about it too. So this was in Eldon, Missouri, and the story is that Harley's back. From when I started training in 2000, he was in a back brace because he had just had back surgery to fuse some of his lower vertebrae, and pretty much the whole time that I knew him, he had back issues. But there was a point in time, it was probably around 07, maybe not that far, maybe it was sooner than that. 03, 04, 05 time frame, most likely. Harley was actually, it was a period where he was actually feeling fairly good, and he wanted to try and do a little bit of stuff with the guys in the ring. And I don't remember if it was the previous week or the previous night, but he was up doing a show for Steel Domain Wrestling, and Ace Steel and CM Punk had got him in up there, and he made an appearance up there, and he ended up doing something with both Punk and Ace. He had suplexed them both, or he body slammed them. I don't remember what it was now, but he did something up there, and then he came to Eldon, whether it was the next day or the next week, I don't recall, or 2 weeks later, whatever it was, but he wanted to do something for the fans of Eldon. And so he decided that he would suplex me. And he handpicked me because he knew that I would get up for him. I would go over easy for him, right? And so when it came time, after the match had ended, he finally made his way into the ring. I went over by DQ. I went over by cheating somehow, not by DQ, by cheating somehow. And he came in. He didn't like it. He came into the ring, and of course I go to swing on him. He blocks it. He punches me once or twice, and then he goes to suplex me. And you got to realize that Harley Race wasn't Harley Race from his youth. This was Harley Race from 2000 and whatever year it was, right? And he didn't bend or move like he used to. And when he was ready to go for the suplex, I had no idea. And so he just kind of went, and I did not jump for him at all, but he ended up suplexing me. And it ended up hurting his back when it was all said and done because he just moved me over. And so I heard about it.
I bet you did.
But yeah, I was suplexed by Harley Race at one point.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
awesome.
We're going to actually go and do one of our favorite segments that we do here on our show, and we just wanted to tag you along with it here, and it's called Wrestling's Gold Memes. And
we like our memes here.
Yeah, we definitely love our memes here. I've actually done something a little bit different here to start off our night here, Z. I've actually got a little vignette to feature with the with our first meme. So hopefully this plays. Let's see if we can take a look at it here real quick. This is getting on the softer side on one of the most notorious badasses in WWE right now. Let's just kind of take a look at this one here.
What are you doing?
If it'll play. Will it play? It should.
You say I only hear what I want to.
So there you go. I knew they'd get you.
Oh my god, I love Dominic Mysterio. I really do. I can't say it enough how much I enjoy his character.
No, let's play one more time for those who didn't get it.
You say I only hear what I want to.
Lisa Lowe back then.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm crying over here, dude. Don't put it big on me. I literally teared up on that one. That was good.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I saw that and I'm like, I got to do something different for this. So
who thought Dominic Mysterio, of all people, would be somehow getting over? And I love it. I'm not even mad. I love the Judgment Day. I love everything about it. Obviously, I love my woman, but he's a great piece of the puzzle, and it's just a beautiful thing.
Oh man, yeah. Dominic is getting over, and we all know the writing on the wall. Him and Ray are going to go at it in WrestleMania, and I'm kind of really looking forward to the match now. Yeah, it's getting some build, so I'm looking forward to it. Here's one that you kind of preferred over the from yesterday.
Yes,
with,
my golden me.
The new look of Asuka.
Yes.
This is pretty much Z's phrasing here. With Mark
Yep, 100%. Asuka's definitely one of my favorite female wrestlers going today. I will always say this, and I'll continue to say this. Charlotte Flair is by far, hands down, the greatest sports entertainer in the female division. Asuka's hands down the greatest female wrestler in the women's division. They are just, Asuka's amazing. And I'm so happy to see her Japanese persona come to the States.
Yeah, it took me by surprise, and it's still to get. I mean, I'm going to get used to it, but it's like, I'm telling you, the woman without makeup. I'll tell you what, it's.
Oh, she's beautiful, beautiful. Oh, yeah. But trust me, you're gonna be. Steve, you can probably attest. Her skills just go above, and
she's worlds ahead of anybody in the ring in WWE. I can tell you that.
I'd almost say she's probably even better than some of the men. A lot of the men, actually.
I would agree.
Absolutely. And for our next one, we remember about this whole rising cost of living, and well, we finally have that guy come to raise. Just remember that Eddie Biasi says I'm thankful because I'm rich and you're not.
That was pretty funny, actually.
I cannot wait to meet him May 13th. Get my belt signed. I'm getting my belt signed by the man.
He's another nice guy. I've met him several times over the years too, and he's another down to earth, nice guy to talk to.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him at the Fan Fest again. It's gonna be a little while since I've seen him, so I mean, just a lot of people that are going to be there. That just fun, but we're going to let's see. Oh yeah, I do see my next one. So we're hearing Vince is still getting lawsuits after lawsuits again. At least 2 more here. So now
we're up to 3 now, I think.
Yeah. Now it's been put in a certain secured container, and it's going to be up for grabs in the hush money of the bank.
You didn't send me this one, did you? That's terrible.
Let's just say if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, if you don't know why Brad Maddox and Xavier Woods was there, then I'm not. This is not the show for me to explain it. So, so it's kind of if you know, you know. And we remember the whole, moment from the 30th anniversary for Raw between The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt, and we actually got captions of what actually was said at that moment. This is Undertaker.
Dude, as soon as that posted, I was like, I gotta send that to Dave. that was arguably the best segment of that whole, one of the best segments of that whole show. Arguably.
I was actually surprised that Taker actually came back as the American Badass. But now when I was thinking about it, when he left with his
he left as the American Badass.
Yeah, in the Boneyard match.
Correct. Like, people forget that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I can see. But, he did. But also, when he took his WWE Hall of Fame induction, he was the dead man. I mean, the phenom. So
he's Undertaker. No one's going to tell him he can't do what he wants to do.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, okay, yeah. Don't do this, Taker. Okay. No. So no, that is all of the memes we had here, and shoot, hopefully that was enjoyable for the rest of y'all.
There we go.
It was for me.
The first one got me. Like, you saved that. That was beautiful. This is beautiful.
I always try to throw you off at one point every week. I try.
Dom's so good.
That was
I can't get. I'm trying to read it to get back on track. So, with all these great memes we just went through, is there any particular moment in your professional wrestling career that stands out of that golden achievement? I mean, you already hold 2 titles now, so what could be that crowning jewel?
That's a good question. Anytime you win any belt, I mean, that sticks out. I would say the first time I won the WLW title stuck out. The first time I won the SICW title, that sticks out. New breed title, I was the first new breed heavyweight champion. I mean, those points stick out because it's the company saying, hey, we think you're the best guy right here. And it's a lot of confidence. It's confidence boosting you. It's confidence boosting in the work you're doing. Those are really what sticks out to me.
Right on.
I mean, I'm sure, and I'm pretty certain that with all the accolades that you have accomplished, I mean, this probably your resume that you sent over probably would have been at least twice as long.
Right.
What you did. because I mean, the work speak when your work speaks for itself, and where you come from, what you do in the ring, what you can do, and what you have done. All those accolades add up, and it's just it's just recognizing that uh, they trust your work, they trust you, they respect you,
Right.
and that's the way it should be here in this business. And there's very few people that I've known that have find a way to either manipulate or bitch the way to
There's
that
plenty of
spot.
those out there. Yes.
Yeah. And for those who are hearing this, just stop doing it. No, but I don't know if they're gonna get it.
Just stop doing it.
Just
No
shut
more.
up, will you? You're not gonna get it. Okay, no. But okay. So my next question here to you, because we've known all about your wrestling accolades, everything about your career. But what is one characteristic about Superstar Steve or fact that no one would ever guess would ever know it was true? They would never guess about you, whether being inside or outside the ring.
Something that not many people would guess if they see me inside the ring and seen my character inside the ring is that I'm an introvert.
What? Really?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because like one of my first tastes of you was the Spookery. So I went back and watched you because like you, Bobby D, and a couple other guys like were really the standouts to me at that show, and I became an absolute fan of you because of that show. There's no way you're an introvert.
Oh yeah, 100%. I like sitting on my couch doing nothing. I like avoiding big crowds. I'll go to a baseball game or a football game or something, but I like avoiding big crowds, which is weird because I wrestle in front of crowds of people, right? Yeah, just keep to myself, do my own thing. I'm an introvert, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah,
Join the club.
I know because I can relate to this guy with me being in late 40s. I could probably, well, I could say definitely relate to something like this. It's like, do I really want to go out tonight? And I'm like, you have to really sell to me on the idea that I need to go out for something, even if it means to get something at the grocery store. I'm like, can I wait till tomorrow? I don't want to go out tonight.
Amazon.
Yeah, have Amazon send a carton of eggs.
Done it. No lie. No shame in my game.
Man.
Well, I don't want to cut you guys off. I gotta get up pretty early in the morning, but I'll make you a deal. And looks like my daughter's getting ready to die too. I'll be more than happy to come on your show anytime you guys want me to come on there.
Sure. Yeah, no,
That's fair.
That's fair, man. Yeah, well, there might be a few other things that we might want to ask you. We'll come back on and pop back in. Who knows? May 13th's coming up. You've already announced yourself for the Bruiser Brody Memorial Battle Royal. Trying to get that cup.
I'll definitely be in that Battle Royal, no doubt.
You've not won that cup, have you?
I have not.
No.
Ooh.
I will this year.
There you go. That's the attitude. That's the attitude. Right. Awesome. Well, man, I appreciate you chiming in here with us, and we'll definitely catch up later. But also tune in because you actually have a tag team title opportunity next week against Big Texan and Gary Jackson on SICW All Star Wrestling. So tune in because Superstar Steve will wow you against Big Texan and Gary Jackson. So
tune in and watch the carnage.
Yeah, we'll definitely watch the carnage with that. So I appreciate you coming on, my friend. Thank you very much.
It was a blast.
We'll definitely talk soon, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Steve.
Right.
Yep.
That is Superstar Steve, everybody. With
that was fun. That was a fun.
Yeah, that was fun. Absolutely. So, so now we are at our point here where we're going to be talking about the Royal Rumble, but getting involved with the Rumble last week and getting involved with the draw was also another individual of ours who was also in the Falls Count Everywhere podcast family, and he is back with us again this week. Everybody, give it up for GQ, everybody.
Are you sleeping?
Oh, shit. Sorry. Yeah. Did you hire the same production people that brought out Nia Jackson the Royal Rumble last night? I'm just.
Oh, God.
I mean,
Oh my God! Really? I mean, I really. There was one thought that came to mind when I saw Nia Jax last night.
get the hell out of my life. Who needs you? Beat it. Leave me alone.
So, but no one cares.
Who said? I think like Pat McAfee said it or something about her and Tamina. Like, was it her and Tamina facing?
Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I know who that is. That's Texan. Okay. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. Yes, I was at the airport today. Anyway. Anyway, go ahead.
Go ahead, my friend.
Pat McAfee said something about like she faced down somebody. I can't. Oh, it's her and Piper Nivens. May I add? So glad we got rid of that name.
I second,
baby
yes.
Jesus. Okay, but Pat McAfee. Once again, another thank God moment. By the way, before we really get deep into it, if there would ever be a 3-man team that I would love to sit and listen to all night, Pat McAfee, Corey Graves, Michael Cole, sign me up. I enjoyed that pay-per-view 100% listening to them.
Yeah, they nailed it out of the park. I agree.
Michael Cole's reaction to Pat coming out was priceless. Corey being pissed off about it was I loved everything about that. But Pat said that a dream match in the making. Nia Jackson, Piper said nobody. I literally said that right when he said it. I'm like, no, nobody said that ever. And I love Piper. So
No, I agree, and I love the new look instead of that Dewdrop look. I'm glad Dewdrop the look and went back to Piper Nevin.
But Nia Jax, what? And then she went out, and all I said was, "Oh, my hole."
Oh.
No, that goes back to one of the memes you were talking about. Anyway, I would say, I want to say last night was really kind of flat.
I don't think so.
Despite the fact that your number 3 pick was your guy, The Miz, okay, on the Men's Rumble.
Yeah. Man.
And the first out was The Miz also in the Men's Rumble. But
Stop it. Stop it.
Could be worse. He got B-Fab.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I know.
She did more work than I thought she was going to.
Yeah.
Actually, Chelsea Green did more work than I thought she was going to.
I was pissed about that. I was seriously upset that Chelsea Green got thrown out as fast as she did.
I was laughing more at the fact that the hidden comments, I would really want to make fun of her husband. It's like, I'm like, oh, you're going to shoot that camel right now?
Like, I'm a big fan of Chelsea Green. So, but let's start off with the Men's Rumble and stuff and how that all went down. There was a lot of people. I mean, I've seen both sides of the coin today on the Facebooks of people being mad that Cody won, people being happy that Cody won. I sit in the happy phase, except for the fact that I wish Cody never got announced.
Cody didn't win. One of my picks, Rey Mysterio, won the match.
I mean, he never got in the match, bro.
He never got eliminated either.
So, do we need to go back to 1991 for Macho King Randy Savage because he never entered?
Your hole, okay?
Well, Curtis Axel.
Cody jumped over the top rope and onto the floor. So my guy, Rey Mysterio, won. I win the pool on that. So.
Okay, tell WWE that.
It's not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna work since he never entered the ring, my guy. Like,
well, hey, is Axel still in it too? I mean,
Curtis Axel still has never. Well, no. So the next year after that, he did enter and get thrown out.
Damn.
So, but I'm okay with Cody winning. I really am. I've said it from the get-go. He didn't need it. The true MVP, and I don't care what anyone says, and I think actually you guys will agree with me because most of the internet did. Gunther was the true MVP of that whole thing.
I just thought that was kind of weird. Still,
Why?
I can't buy into him. I really can't.
Why?
I just
Well, hold on. Let me kind of interject here. Just when he came in from the UK as Walter. Now, when I'm thinking about this, it's a good thing he had his name changed because it's a total
Facts.
transformation of this guy because he is now toned. He's lost weight. This guy is still a badass. I mean, really. I mean, the guy could deliver a chop hard, really hard. He's executed. Imperium should be a notable heel faction. Of course, not the strongest as in the bloodline. Well, I don't know. Now we'll talk about that here in a bit.
yeah.
But the whole thing is Imperium to me gets over. It does.
For sure. I'm with you 100%. I can't say anything because I guess I can, but because I'm going to. But I've been a fan of theirs since the NXT. Actually, Progressive. Yeah. Progress. Sorry. I'll get there. Since Progress, I've been a fan of Walter, Gunther, whatever you want to call him. Dude's been amazing. Martel Bartel, or what's his name now? Kaiser. Dude, he has not gotten to show exactly what he can do in the ring as a competitor yet in WWE. If you watched it, I was back on NXT when it was actually good and it was the golden brand. He had a match and it was just phenomenal to see that man work. And then Fabian, he speaks for himself. I don't know what name he's going by now because I can never remember because they change it so much. But
that dude, and sauerkraut. That's who they are.
What? No, Imperium is awesome, man. And Gunther just showed why he is still the IC champion. And Triple H is putting a lot of trust in him. And if you didn't watch the after stuff, the conference, Triple H talks about it. Triple H talks about the fact that guys come back from the ring and go, Gunther, 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 Gunther. And they're giving him props. Like, Gunther was the MVP. I don't know. I don't understand that. I do agree with that for me. He is the MVP, but Dominic was fun to watch too.
Right. I don't know. To me, in the men's, there was not really that many guys in the ring at one time. And
they did keep it thin, didn't they?
It was a really thin rumble for the men's this year.
The one thing,
even into like the last 8 people, there were still like when they had like the last 8 draws, there was like about 4 in there, and I'm like, that's kind of weird to have just like 4 like that. But
I really liked the Brock stuff with Bobby. That stuff was beautiful. That stuff was beautiful. Progression of storyline. I love it. I love when you can see progression happen right in front of our eyes. Let's see. Sheamus and Drew were definitely standouts to me in that whole show. Just how they kept protecting each other and stuff. That was excellent work. Who else was? Logan Paul was a great surprise. I was actually personally surprised and happy to see him.
I got a lot of respect for him, especially with the flying clothesline of doom that him and Ricochet gave each other from side to side. I mean, that was amazing to see somebody that's not as seasoned of a ring veteran as Ricochet is to do that move and not die from it, you know.
I think people don't give credit to Logan as much as they should. I think Logan is studied enough, and he's proven, I think, time in and time out now since he's got his chance. Because I remember when he got his first chance and they said he was coming in, I was like, what? Logan Paul? Like, I don't... And yeah, they're putting him with my guy, the Miz, and Miz can help anyone look like a star, but really? Like Logan Paul? And then the dude just blew us all away. Like, go back and watch him versus Roman. Tell me that wasn't a good match.
No, I agree. And you gotta look at him and Bad Bunny have enough respect that they actually learned the craft and learned everything to put on decent stuff.
So Facebook user, I'm pretty sure that's Aaron Wallace still, or maybe Texan. or maybe Texan.
It's not Texan because they said already, so I already know one of two people it could be. It's probably Alan on another account.
Yeah.
What? It could be Allen. Yes, it could be Allen. But I do agree the women's was better. And that's the second year in a row, in my opinion. Allen, it's Allen. It's Allen.
I just knew whoever was at a thing from Friday night that I can't really talk about. I just knew it was going to be somebody from there. So,
but that's 2 years in a row. The men's was upstaged by the women, and great call WWE for putting the men on first. Like I was not against that.
I wish they would have done one move that was done in the men's rumble, in the women's rumble, the wheelbarrow butt slapper.
Stop it!
Come on.
I hope Kofi's okay. I really hope Kofi's okay.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be not an elimination right then.
Well, they waved it off as not an elimination, but he never joined back in.
I think because he was supposed to land on the chair and it wasn't supposed to fall over like that.
Yeah, because he hit his head on that. If you go back and watch it, because my kids and I rewatched this today, he hits his head on the announce table pretty hard.
Yeah,
pretty hard. So
I mean, he had a rough landing, and I was like, he was like, oh, one of his feet didn't touch. I'm like, dude, he's probably about half conscious right now. Damn, if he's one of his feet is not touching the floor because he is not getting back in it.
Yeah, so. He landed so hard he almost knocked out the glowing confetti. Anyway.
But one of my issues with the Royal Rumble altogether, the men specifically, is the lack of surprises. I am so tired of WWE not giving us. Yeah. I don't give two.
I was saying that.
I don't give two crap about Booker T.
No, that's what I'm saying. That was the only one. Is like, why? Could have given.
We had Edge. We had Edge.
You know? Well, he's returning. He wasn't really like.
It doesn't matter.
The year he first came back, yes, that was a major ass surprise.
I agree with that.
But this one, okay, so he's healed. They're going to go back after your girls group and everything. So
now here's the real question: which one of us won the poll?
So,
because I didn't know the numbers.
Number 17, Rey Mysterio Jr. That was me. So
no,
Rey Mysterio did not win the damn
number
Rumble.
30, which was Zach.
Yeah, Zach won that one because Cody entered in at number 30. And what was the side note I was about ready to say? I totally forgot.
The fact that the biggest pop of the whole, besides Cody winning, was the Spinneroonie, actually, which is shockingly.
The Spinneroonie was sloppy.
I was so hoping that Booker T was going to step on his own dreads trying to get up. Damn, I was like, come on, man. He got his hair longer than Crystal Gale, and that's how showing my age is. I mean, man, it's almost down to his freaking shins. You know?
I mean, I respect it. I mean,
he's Booker Belair.
No, oh my God. Stand on somebody's ceiling, beat somebody's drapes. You know, with coming across like a beads. Someone black out the sun, would you?
So then we go into the sponsored match, the pitch black match. No. Yeah, it was the pitch black match. Next.
No.
Yes, it was. Yes, the females were after. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think they should have switched them. The female match should have been Bianca versus Alexa should have been first, for the simple fact that like we still saw the Videotron with Howdy at the end of Alexa. Those two matches were extra short in my opinion too. Was that just me?
I agree, because I was talking with him during the Alexa match. It was like, is that over already? What the heck? But I definitely thought that the Bray one was something that just seemed like off with that finish. I mean, I don't know what it was. It just seemed off after, of course they, bringing out the friggin' Jedi kendo stick and everything.
Yeah,
the way that was yelling out there.
I will say that I think it was the best sponsored match.
Well, the whole thing is that whole thing just threw me off the way I thought it'd been more dark and eerie when I was telling Zach earlier today, but I was waiting for them to pan over to like another direction to see if there was like any lanes in and disco balls going, and you can start throwing strikes because it looked like a damn big cosmic ball. It's like, what are you doing? It's like it looked like a rave party.
It was better than when the ring was all red with the Fiend matches, though.
Yes, 100%.
Because you really see the wrestlers a little bit better, and especially when LA Knight actually had gear that went with it.
That dude was so damn bright. It was so distracting almost for me. For me, it like I could not stop staring at LA Knight because he was just like, boom, right there. I was like, dang. All in all, I think the guys did good. The match wasn't really meant to be a match, and I said this, I think, to Douglas O'Shea in a discussion that we were having about it. It was a storyline-driven match, people. We got exactly what we were supposed to get out of it. It was supposed to be storyline first, match second. The match meant nothing, really. Bray got the win, so he gets a little bit of momentum. They're really going to have to push, in my opinion, with Bray at this point to really progress him because he could hit that stagnant. I mean, actually, I think he is. I think he is hitting that stagnantness with him coming back. LA Knight definitely looks like, or going into this, did look like the forerunner, in my opinion, when it comes to like progression wise. But
and I don't think he's going to get a push out of it at all.
I don't think so either.
I think LA Knight's done with whatever he was getting right then. So,
but we're going to see LA Knight and what he brings to the table and what we've all probably known. I mean, I've been a big fan of his for God knows how long now. So to see him get this and hold his own, if not better than Bray, who is arguably one of the best promo guys right now in WWE, that says a lot in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. Are we going to talk about the whole missed spot from Uncle Howdy?
He didn't miss it. He hit.
Oh, no. They actually showed videos that fans had recorded.
Up top?
He literally landed a little bit above his head, away from him, landed first, and then he's fallen into the hole that Uncle Howdy fell through.
It is what it is. It is what it is. I
really don't. You know, like I said, the whole thing is, because the angle that they had hit Ward up at him, and you saw him coming down, he didn't really hit Knight that much at all.
Oh yeah, no.
He maybe grazed him with an elbow, but then he like went down and freaking shoot. I'm like, what the heck was that? You know, it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to get the story. I don't know. I'm not really into that story. It's nothing that's really sold to me. I get easily confused. I don't know where the hell Bray's coming from. He's getting stagnant because half the people don't even understand where the hell he's coming from.
I think they're doing a slow build-up of him new, kind of similar to how they were with the whole Firefly Funhouse stuff. It's just a different direction and different build-up on it, but I think it's just a slow build for it.
He did have a number 6 on his head, so the Wyatt 6 thing is coming full circle eventually. That's the big takeaway. Is there's Bray's whole character is about subliminal messaging, 100%. It's completely about subliminal messaging, and if you're not watching, and this is one of the bad things about AEW, in my opinion, at one point, was if you weren't watching like BTE, you weren't understanding some of the storylines that were going on AEW show, because a lot of progression was happening on BET or BTE. So the same way with Wyatt. Wyatt's doing a lot of his progression not only on WWE's screen on SmackDown, but his Twitter account has a lot to do with what the storyline is. So if you're not following him, you're not understanding some of the other little holes that he's secretly pushing out there. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. They're definitely going to have to do something fast with him, because even a guy like me who's been a big Bray Wyatt fan from day one is losing interest quick.
I agree.
Now, it would have been really good if he would have been in the Royal Rumble as all of his characters.
Stop it.
Come on.
It can only be done. No, that whole idea should only stay to one man and one man only that did it, and it was great and it was beautiful, and leave it at that.
Just because
So let's go ahead and talk about our next match that was on the card there, GQ.
You know what match that was, GQ?
That was Bianca and Alexa Bliss.
I literally sneezed and didn't even realize it was over. Honest to God.
So again, like I said, I was talking with him, and all of a sudden it's like, is that over? Seriously?
And those two women deserve so much better, in my not in my. I know for a fact it's not even my opinion.
No, I agree too. I mean, they could have done so much more with it. I can see possible like feuds later on for them as well afterwards. Like Liv Morgan's definitely going to get a push against somebody from the Rumble match as well, though too, being at the last eliminated though too. So, Did you see the darker Alexa going after being a heel or a face? That's the biggest thing you got to think of right now.
Honestly, I will say I see Asuka going more towards heel.
I'm trying not to talk about the Asuka character because I don't want him to get excited too much on the show right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry with that makeup and how she was that. No, I agree with the meme that you had. Trust me, I agree with the meme that you had.
I don't see. I see her turning more toward evil on this. So I don't think that's a character you can really put more of a face, especially if she's coming out. And so I think she, and it was, I don't know if it was just on her Instagram page that she was kind of teasing some of the stuff that she was bringing back, or something with inside her or what have not.
Oh yeah, it was 100% Instagram.
Yeah, so you could tell it's something like almost something what Alexa's going through right now with the public vignettes, but she was doing something else different on her Instagram page with Asuka.
But didn't they also do some of that on TV also?
Yeah. They gave us like 1 or 2 vignettes, I think, with Asuka. Now bridging from the women's world title match to the women's Rumble match, which like we said before, and one of the people in the chat said, hands down was the better match easily of the Rumble matches. Rhea coming out from number 1 and carrying it all the way was stellar for me. I'm not a fan or anything. I've never said I love that woman. I love that woman 100%. I think she's one of God's greatest gifts to this earth. But to see her do that and that final 3 was probably one of the coolest endings to a Royal Rumble match to date, in my opinion.
Especially, she even got like legit hurt early on with her nose getting busted at some point in the match.
From Dana Brooke, I'm pretty sure if I rewatched it correctly back, it was Dana Brooke that's the one that popped her.
And it's not the first time. It's not the first time Dana's been careless too. So it's like, all right, now it's like she's trying to catch up to Nia Jax as far as being careless. So
some of the interesting things though was like, Doudrop dropping the name and coming out as Piper Niven.
Huge. It was amazing.
I loved it too.
She was stellar in the match too. Mm. Like she got hits in, and man, I don't care
there was a certain point that I thought it's like, are they going to push her to the win here? I almost thought maybe they could have gone a different route with it and trying to repackage her into a monster more, but they still ended up with Rhea. You had Chelsea Green coming out.
That was fun.
Going back quicker than she came out.
I mean, I'm still sad about it because Chelsea Green is well deserving of some great stuff in female wrestling. But I'm so glad to see her back.
You had the one entrance from ringside, from the crowd, which was.
It was great to see Michelle McCool look back, and goddamn, did she look good?
Mm-hmm. She looks younger.
She looked good. Like I would love to see her come back full time in this generation. I said it last night, actually. Due to the generation that she was in, they get a lot of crap for being the divas, right? They get the eye candy and not the wrestlers,
right?
But Michelle McCool was so much better than that, and I think she could blend very well into this era. And people don't realize how well she was. Like that Styles Clash. I know Zelina Vega is a tiny girl, but that Clash was a what she call it, Angel's Wings or something like that. I can't remember what the heck it was called, but that Clash was brutal. So like, I would love to see her come back.
Coming in though,
I'm over Lacey
Evans
and
everything.
I'm over Lacey Evans. First
Is
smack,
that
dude.
Is that camouflage or camo toe?
Dude, for real, like, can I? I'm so frustrated about that because Lacey Evans had so much potential in NXT, and then coming into WWE when she came in the first time before she got pregnant and stuff. And I'm glad she had another baby and everything's good there and all this stuff. But Friday night, her match was atrocious. Just terrible. I'm with Sergeant Slaughter. I'm pissed that she's using the Cobra Clutch. 100%.
You said Lacey who?
Like what? It's garbage. It's slop. She is sloppy. I'm sorry. Lacey's an out for me.
Now we also had the botch of the whole show, which was, Naya's music playing about 5 seconds before the timer started at 10 down.
I didn't pay attention to that, I guess.
Oh, yeah. The music was playing before the timer even started.
I don't understand why they paid her to come back.
Coming out to interfere or something, coming back. But then they started the countdown, and she's like the 30th one. It's like, it hasn't hit one yet. Give her a second.
They knew she needed all that room to get to the ring. Sorry, Dave. I mean, Ruby.
Oh, no. It's okay. well, the pun there. One thing I will say.
Go ahead.
Oh, I will say I was going back to Lacey Evans. I wish WWE would make up their mind what they want to do, because when they were doing those vignettes about her with the working, being a working military, mother and everything else, doing things for her daughter, it looked like she was going to be, a stand-up American, to do things for her country and to work hard in WWE. And then she's coming out Friday Night SmackDown, and then she's coming up to the Rumble as a heel dog and a fan saying salute me. It's like, I mean, why can't they just go with what they were going through? Because it makes no sense when you put all those vignettes out there and then you're coming out. It's like, now she's like dogging a crowd. I'm like, why don't you just go back to her previous gimmick? That makes no sense at all to me. I'm just saying.
Well, you had her being like the preppy, rich, snooty person. Then she became a flare rat, and then now they just don't know what to do with her.
They should have just stayed with there was nothing wrong.
Give her walking papers.
Jeez.
I'm over it. I was so behind her back in NXT and back when she first came to the main roster, but
I mean, dude, you don't have the same amount of time to invest in somebody to try to see how you can get them over, like you did with Mark Henry for like 20 friggin' years.
Hey, don't disrespect Mark Henry.
Yeah.
Okay, come on now. He was hurt a lot. He was the only one that was signed to a 10-year deal. And that's the reason why he was the only one, because they found out, okay, don't do this anymore. Because he kept getting hurt. He couldn't get over, no matter if you made him the Olympic, Mark Henry, sexual chocolate Mark Henry. It wasn't until the last
Hall of Pain, bro. Hall of Pain.
Yeah, it wasn't until the last 10 years, at least, though, too, that he found his footing finally.
Yeah, the Hall of Pain is when everything started clicking. But that's digressing. So my girl wins. I'm happy. Dom's happy. The Judgment Day's happy.
You got to think, though, look at everybody that could get really pushed out of this, though, too. The last four was Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, Asuka, and Rhea Ripley.
Oh, all four great female wrestlers. All four. Liv's come so far. Liv has come so far from the Riot Squad that, I still say it. I don't care what anyone says. I still say it. Give them females a secondary undercard title. Let them have the one tag team titles. Let them have the one undercard title and the two big titles. Call it a day. And that secondary title be something of like a hardcore style or like a more looser rule style title for the women, with Liv Morgan being the first person carrying it and establishing that title. And you would have something. You would 100% have something to give the fans something to invest in the women. And why, think of like back in the day when they used to call in like guys like Mick Foley, Terry Funk, and all those guys to come in and make guys look tougher, right? That's a thing. That was a thing. That was legitimately a thing. Why can't we establish that kind of stuff for the women now? Where, but it's just a belt doing it instead of a one person coming in from a different territory and helping, Mick Foley's Cactus Jack, okay, when he came into WCW, he made Sting better by giving him that more harder edge.
That belt went into the garbage is where it went.
Right. So, someone asked about where did the 24/7 title go? Well, when Nikki Cross changed her gimmick and all that, the
She
whole
threw in the
thing
title.
was,
Right before War Games, people. Right before War Games.
right. So, right before War Games, she went back to the whole crazy thing, and then she won the championship from Dana Brooke and walked back and dropped it.
She dropped it on the floor.
She dropped it on the floor near the garbage can. She missed it. So some white men can't jump. White women can't shoot. So it's one or the other.
You can't make it in the hole.
Oh my goodness!
But they need something, especially with them, if they're going to be bringing back some more of these females and stuff, which I'm all for, because I think the women's division has so much potential to be a show stealer, that they need that room to let these women continue to really show their toughness. And I say Liv be that first title holder. I really do. I'm with it. I like her.
That is if they do something with that. But
this is all me hypothetically speaking.
Yeah. Right. But definitely congrats to Rhea. You and I both had the same picks. I think Alan's had the same pick with Cody winning the men's.
All of us did, I think. Well, I thought I said the same thing with Rhea though too.
I've been saying it for about 2 months now.
Yeah. I thought Rhea would have got it in the last couple of years.
So it's I guess 4 guys were in it, which by the way, going back to our contest drawing, obviously nobody had gotten it. So
no shirt. No shirts for you.
Y'all stink. So who won the females?
Rhea Ripley.
No. God dang it, GQ. The poll, you jack.
I'm looking at the person and saying what I read on their shirt.
No. Who? Wait, me again?
Yes, you again.
Oh, baby, Jesus loves me.
I agree with our discussion last week, and it was rigged.
I didn't do anything. I didn't spin anything.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Time out. You were putting that rig on me. You were not putting that rig on Zach. You were putting that rig on me.
General, okay?
Dude, don't be the jerk here. It's like, oh man, he's getting all these late numbers, man. It's rigged.
Okay. Let's look at the ones that I got, and like, no chance in hell any of these are going to win. Emma, Candice LeRae.
She could have won.
Io Sky.
She could have won.
Yeah, she could have won.
Tamina Snuka.
So was going to win.
Chelsea Green.
we know how well she did.
Vega.
She looks sexy as hell, by the way.
Michelin.
What?
Mia Yim.
Michelin,
not Michelin. Was she coming up?
Once again, I don't know if AJ. Okay, so I had buddies over last night, right? One of my buddies is a big fan of Mia Yim, and she walked out, and I'm like, waste of roster space.
Oh,
I can't stand her, dude. Her and Chauncey both. Like, they irritate me. They're not that good either.
Lacey Evans and Sonya Deville. It's like,
Hey, Sonya Deville's.
sounds like something we heard on Friday night. I'm just saying, though.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I dropped a beer.
that's alcohol abuse, sir. You are cut off.
No, I knocked it over with the other beer. I came prepared today.
Yeah.
Oh shit! That's the one that fell over.
Never mind. So, well, how about we get into the main event?
Facts.
You know, well, we knew. I knew. We all should have known that Roman was going to hold on. But what was going to happen? I mean, let's just talk about the course of the match and how Sammy was. First off, how Roman said, "Don't do anything, just stand here." And then Roman starts asking for.
Do stuff.
He starts asking for stuff. He's asking for a chair, and you told me not to do anything. Well, here you go.
You already saw it hinting at whenever he didn't even want to give him the chair.
Right. And then
I mean, that whole story,
Yeah.
like the whole. Let's just talk about how good everyone, and I'm talking everyone, from the moment Roman has won that title till last night, how everyone has helped build this storyline to what it is right now. Big MVP props to Kevin Owens. Big MVP props to Sammy. Even bigger to my man Jey Uso. Every one of these guys have pushed the envelope on how to tell a story.
I was going to say they built this story better than the whole Bray Wyatt one, definitely.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
We can't. We got to stop trying to compare apples to oranges.
Be in the same level, but the build up and the pay.
heavy yard to Jack Mackerel.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on that GQ.
Yeah, they made Sammy probably the biggest face that could go for a world title now.
Would you say Sammy's bigger than Bryan when his stuff was happening?
With the Yes Movement, you mean?
Yeah, with the yes movement.
While
I
he's
want to
thinking
say
about it, yeah.
the pop is bigger than when Bryan first was getting when he became the face and the beginning of that, but I could say is probably an equivalent to. Neither is better.
I agree with
But
that statement.
they got the sympathy behind them, especially in that. And it's like the whole teasing, going to hit or not, going to hit or not, going to hit or not. When he laid that chair in on the Roman, the crowd, they blew the roof off the place.
I mean, yeah. I mean, everything about, like, the storytelling in the match was beautiful. The frustration that Roman Reigns was getting because Kevin kept kicking out. The fact that Sammy wasn't given the chair. The fact that Paul Heyman, who is a god when it comes to just facial features, like facial
expressions
and stuff, like in telling a story without saying a damn word, without saying anything. Paul's telling us a story about how, like, he's getting mad at Sammy for not helping Roman, but then feeling like concerned for Roman and all stuff. And then the fact that Roman went just berserk, and gave us that brutal bump, which every time I see Kevin take that bump, because it's not the first time he's taken the bump on the stairs, it makes me cringe. It physically makes me cringe.
Well, would both of you agree? The push you're seeing Sammy get and Kevin get again is not a Vince idea, but it's 100% Triple H.
I don't agree at all.
I do, because Hunter was behind Kevin Owens from the get-go, brought him up a lot sooner than he ever brought anybody else up from NXT.
I mean, I agree with that statement. I'm not saying you're wrong on it, but here's the reason I disagree with it.
It's for the simple fact that Vince knew what Kevin had to offer this whole time. It's just not Kevin. It's not Vince's style of guy. That's it. When Vince needed Kevin to play Kevin's role, just like Samoa Joe, he was putting Samoa Joe in positions to get things over that needed to get over because he knew the work the man was going to put in. Okay? Same principle with Kevin. I think, personally, this is my personal opinion, I still think Vince is in Triple H's ear helping guide this storyline of the Bloodline. Using the guys that Triple H holds value for, which is Sammy, which is Kevin, all that kind of stuff. And this whole time as we're building this storyline, everybody keeps forgetting or keeps unnoticing this one guy that keeps developing and developing and developing into a star, and that is Jey Uso. I never thought in a million years that I would ever feel the way about one Uso like I do about Jey. I said it from almost day one-ish, almost, no pun intended, that if anyone was taking any of the titles off of Roman Reigns, it has to be Jey Uso. I stand by that 100%. One exception. Jey Uso is the reason Sammy becomes champion. Would make perfect sense.
And
otherwise, it's the other way.
In the whole bloodline stuff, then.
Well,
I think that would just break it all down, the rest of it down by then.
we're already seeing the dissolving of it. We're already seeing this whole storyline's about to go to the faction's about to die off. There might be a residual effect of it, and there might be some sort of bloodline afterwards. But we're already seeing the dissolving of the bloodline. Okay, we're already seeing it. Now, if you really want to get fun, I posted on We Talk Wrestling about another Uso that had some comments about last night, and that's Jacob Fatu.
Oh.
So, if I'm not mistaken, his MLW contract is supposed to be coming up here soonish too. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they won't be able, he could easily be into the mix with all this.
So you think something similar to like when the other DiBiase brother kind of helped Ted Jr. at one time?
potentially, something like that.
Yeah. But
I mean,
do something with it and not commit a felony. But anyway,
once again, hypothetically speaking, I don't know shit. I'm just a buckled in seat fan that likes to.
What I noticed though with Hunter on a lot of his work, that unlike Vince, Hunter appreciates the independent aspect of a lot of people's history.
Why do you think we're seeing Asuka go back to her roots?
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm saying. That's why I think, because they knew El Generico was an over person then, as was Kevin Steen. So why not try this again and try to push him and everything? I said put the mask back on Sammy, but that's just, that's just.
I would love to see that. I would love to see El Generico at WrestleMania. I would poop my pants. Literally.
Oh my God.
It would be one of the most amazing things
or
to
at
see
least
that full
sometime
circle.
in WWE appear.
I agree with you 100%. I don't know. It's really hard to tell where they're going to go with it now because Cody won one. I'm telling you right now, they're splitting the titles up. It's coming.
Yeah. Well, what from last night, I mean, we can all say that, people would want to dog the Rumble. Yes, it's had its down points, but overall, the show got over. Even if it took all the way to the end of the night to get over, it still got over. I mean, to when Sammy hit that chair on Roman, you should have heard. I mean, even still to this day, when you go, like, even when you said, Zach, when you watched the replay, you still heard the reaction from the crowd, still loud as can be. And then when Jay decided to not participate in the beatdown on Sammy, and he rolled out of the ring and walked. It did not turn, and that was another big reaction. So the
There were 3
story.
reactions in that match, though. The one that Roman got.
Oh,
right,
the fuck you, Roman. Yeah, loud as clear. And like I said,
And I'm like, it was the whole crowd doing it too. It wasn't just like certain sections here and there. It was almost like the whole building doing the same thing. It's like,
I said in one of our group chats we have a what we call the indie gamer chat, because it's all of us gamer nerds that we play together. There's Doug, myself, and some others. I said 100% that when we watched the replay, that was still in the replay. They ain't gonna pan that out because they can't pan that out. Like they physically can't pan that out. Like it was so loud. And then did you see the Pat McAfee on TikTok version of it, where a fan recorded Pat's like facial features and stuff on it? If you go to We Talk Wrestling, it's on there, and that crowd is so lit on the FU Roman chants that it's crazy. We saw one of the greatest moments in professional wrestling that's going to be talked about forever. Legitimately.
Right.
100% great storytelling with that.
Oh, beautifully. Like I said, one of the guys on We Talk Wrestling, I give him a lot of crap, and I tease him a lot, and he's a big Tribal Chief fan. He used to not be a Roman fan. I'm still technically not a Roman fan, but I can tell you when I'm watching greatness, and Roman's doing greatness right now, so I'm not afraid to say it. But he said, like, everybody bowed down to the Tribal Chief. Like, none of the, we all know Kevin Owens was going back to mid-card. Man, Kevin Owens helped make Roman Reigns. If you don't have the good guy or the good bad guy, the other guy is never going to get anywhere.
But what else did this do also, besides getting Sammy over and everything? Now, if they were ever to turn Roman a face, he'll be over, finally. Because he wasn't over any other times he was a face. That was the biggest thing they were having issues with getting him over.
I mean, I agree with that, but at this point, I never want to see him go good. Like, just don't do it. Don't waste your time. Unless it organically happens. Because I'm all about organic.
Well, peep this now for a second. You can not have you could think it would be Roman and Cody at WrestleMania. Does it become Roman and Cody? Or do they put it on somebody else, like Sammy beforehand, and Sammy and Cody, which would be probably 100% a great friggin' match, and then Roman versus Rock on Mania?
So if it's up to me, this is how it goes. Roman only puts one title on the line for the Elimination Chamber. Sammy wins in the Elimination Chamber with Jey Uso's help.
Okay.
Then you go into WrestleMania. Roman's pissed off, all that kind of stuff. Now we build the storyline between him and Cody. Cody then takes the belt off of him. Roman goes away for a little bit. That's how I personally would book it. Or if you want to go a different route, either way, Cody should not be the guy taking either of the belts off of Roman first. Either way. Okay? I'm okay with Cody getting his moment. I'm okay with that happening. I'm okay with that storyline progressing that way. Fine, because I've been a Cody mark from day one. But at this point, it literally has to be a new face taking that title off of Roman for the first time. So if you do it right, you have Roman defend against Sammy or Jey. That's the only two people. Sammy or Jey. At WrestleMania Night 1, they win the belt. Next night, Roman loses the belt to Cody. Now you have an excuse for Roman to be pissed at Cody because there's really no reason for that concept storyline. But that's how you go forward with it.
Damn, we do have the same production people that WWE had last night.
Right. Well, like I said, I mean, there's lots of. I mean, when you listen to the commentators, they talk about champions that have had consecutive days. Mentioned that Pedro Morales is now, at least at this point, 145. Roman's 145 days away from tying Pedro Morales, but it's 62 days at this point till we get to WrestleMania, or probably it's 63 because they're going to put the Universal Heavyweight Championship match on the last day because it's going to be a 2-a-day event. So I guess we're all calling that he's not going to surpass Pedro. Could WWE pull a shocker and Cody not?
Who is the longest reigning champion?
Bruno Sammartino still is.
Bruno Sammartino, but he's nowhere in that.
There's
ballpark.
no way.
Yeah,
2,000 something days.
I don't
Yeah.
think anybody is going to be able to get up to that one then.
I mean,
No.
they're not going to get to Hogan either. He's 1,300?
Yeah, Hogan is something like 1,300 days. He's like 4 years, and
What was the longest title reign for like NWA or the world title over there in general? What was the longest ones for that? Do you remember offhand?
boy, I sure do not. But Hogan was roughly around close to. Hogan was over 1,400 days. It was like 1,460.
Yeah, it's like 4 years and a half. or something.
1,477 or something. I had to check the record books on that. But Pedro was below Hulk. But Roman, I think, is probably going to stay below Pedro. I guess that's what we're all calling it right now. But see, here's one question. We'll probably wrap up after this. Do you see WWE shaking up the whole predictable story here? Do you see? So what I'm asking here is, do you think they will throw a wrench in the predictability and Cody not take the title of WrestleMania and have further plans maybe at SummerSlam?
I'm all for it. I'm not against that idea. I'm really not.
And the reason why, because if they really want to submit Roman as a higher level above Pedro Morales, you have to wait till SummerSlam in order for that title change to happen. So,
Yeah, I'm totally cool with it.
It would be interesting on that, but is it because whatever's left of the bloodline messed something up, and Roman still retains it, but is upset at that, and then that's kind of how that gets dissolved? I mean, there's a lot of stuff with that you can go.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just think it's almost too easy for Cody to come back, get one shot at it, and he's got it. I think that would be too easy. So do we shock the world and Roman retain at WrestleMania, and the title change comes later, maybe like at SummerSlam, and Cody gets another shot? Or like with Z was saying, do you throw Jey Uso into the mix as he still opposes the bloodline, and then there'll be a total dissolve at that point of the bloodline if Jey wins the title? And that would be something unprecedented that no one would see coming out of left field at all.
Do you guys agree on Jay being the Shawn Michaels of the team?
I don't know. I don't really think that. I think Jimmy holds his own just the same, just not in a
There's
character
no Marty
aspect.
Jannetty, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, not in a character aspect.
Well, no
But-
dead bodies out in the woods or anything. I mean,
But
so.
also with Jimmy, one of the things that's held Jimmy back, and the reason Jay's at this spotlight that he is and has this opportunity that he does, is Jimmy's decisions outside of the ring. And I don't like to bring up people's outside of the ring life and stuff. But Jimmy,
was Jimmy the one that got popped for
Yeah.
all that? Okay.
yeah, Jimmy's the one that unfortunately that has,
Hung out with Jeff.
did the stuff. I'm not bringing it up because once again I don't like talking ill about people like that. But Jay's got these opportunities because of that. I think Jimmy could have been the Jay easily. They're both talented young men. Like you can't say. I don't agree with that statement at all. I think they're one of the few tag teams that there is not a better person. Both of them carry themselves well.
Didn't Marty have problems back in 2002? So technically, wouldn't this make Jay, Sean, and Jimmy Marty still? I mean,
if you want to look at it that way, but now you're just looking too deep about it. All I know is going back to the whole thing. WWE's backed themselves in a corner with booking. That's my idea about it. Is it's they're pigeonholed right now. We'll see what they do. I'm all for it.
I don't see Jay taking it though. I don't see him at that level.
Yeah, because you choose not to.
No, I see him maybe as an IC title holder.
No, Jay's proved himself Jay has 100% proved himself as a character. 100% proved himself as a character
I'm not
through this
saying
whole thing.
I just don't see him world title. I see him major, like secondary title, like IC or something. I see that.
Let me just say this. In 1990, I never saw Shawn Michaels as one of the legendary wrestlers in WWE Hall of Famers and the guy to carry the strap ever.
I mean, you can say about anybody.
And this was when I was 15. This is when I was like, oh, that guy, no one's going to beat Hulk Hogan, I mean, or even if he wrestles like, he's, WrestleMania 8. Oh, Tito Santana's got this. Nope, Shawn Michaels. When he was still breaking out to his own. So, you don't know the sleeper. You don't know what creative may have in store for Jay. You never know, because there could be a different look for Jay upcoming, that still keeps his heritage, still keeps, what he believes as being Uzi somewhat.
Oh, right, Uzi Juicy. That's his handle on Twitter is Uzi Juicy.
Oh, right. Right, yeah. I'm still waiting for that piece of Uzi fruit to come on.
Oh, yes. But I think people are sleeping on Jay. I 100% do.
So we had to kind of just let the cards. I mean, the cards are up in the air right now. We got to let them fall as they lay, and because Elimination Chamber is the next pay-per-view, and then after that we lead right into WrestleMania. So
and it would actually probably depend on how Elimination Chamber is going to be though too, because of course, if you haven't seen it yet, Sammy's on the poster for it.
Yep. It's because he's in the match.
He will be.
Before we wrap it up,
have you seen the chairs?
No.
For Elimination Chamber, it's like Sammy like. It's great.
I remember seeing that.
Before we wrap it up, I want to say two things before, nothing to do with what we were just talking about though. One, don't you just love where imitation is the sincerest form of flattery? If you look at the logos here and you know where I'm getting at, I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm just going to throw that out there.
What?
It did not need to be thrown out there, but what's your other one?
I threw it. I'm blaming it all on me. And
yes.
What's incoming?
What's the other one?
Oh, I was just going to say the independent wrestling world, St. Louis area, and SICW, they need to bring back Travis Cook.
Oh.
I just want to put that out there.
I mean, I agree with that statement too.
Yeah. Travis is a legend.
I'll back that one. The other one, I have no idea what he meant.
Wait for it on the comments, and wait for it, and you'll see.
Oh God!
But go ahead. We'll wrap it up now, Ruby.
Well, why do we have to play? It's almost 11:30. Why are we playing this? Why? I don't know. I hope your cat scratches you in your sleep. How's that? Such a ass. Oh, guys! Next week we are going to have
from Caddyshack.
Oh,
all right.
My God!
We love you, GQ. Thank you for stopping by.
Really? I'm going to get access back to this board one of these days. Just know that.
Oh, well, next week we are going to have Sheik Prater as our featured guest.
Yes, can't wait
for episode number 88. So we are wrapping up January, heading right into February, and we're getting things stacked up, and we're trying to get some things stacked up on the line to work up to this
big
major
moves.
fan fest in St. Louis. I mean, we are going to have a busy first half of 2023. So
Looking forward to it. We thank everybody who's chimed in here tonight, and definitely thank you to Superstar of Steve Fender for showing up here tonight, giving us some great insight on his career and aspects about the business. And excellent interview. And we thank
It's
you.
Too bad he had to go with 2 more questions left, but
it's all right. But, there's a lot of elaboration for what. I mean,
I can't wait to have him back.
You already know if it's not going to be a Japan story, it's going to be a Harley race story on the best road story ever. So
Right.
All right. So we are out of here, and we will see you guys next week for GQ and for the Gem City Monster Zmiz. I am Rough Cut Rick Ruby. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I don't like bats, but screw it anyway. You guys have a good rest of your night, and we will see you then. Thanks again for tuning in to tonight's episode of the Falls Count Everywhere podcast. Don't forget our friends at the following: Outside the Ring STL, the Searcher and Hide podcast, and We Talk Wrestling. The Falls Count Everywhere podcast is an LTX Enterprises production.